The Newborn Overwhelm. To the lady on the train with a screaming baby. Please do not apologise that your tiny newborn daughter is crying. Do not try to justify why she's on the train or make excuses for her tears. Do not talk about how everyone on the tube must hate you for the noise. Your forced laughter doesn't hide the wobble in your voice as you avoid eye contact with other passengers and fiddle with the pram. Through the words you say to your daughter, I've learnt that you've taken her out of the house and been on an adventure into London. You've been back to your place of work and given her the grand tour of your office space, a meeting of your old world and your new. A day where you realise just how much your life has moved on and how much your world has changed, yet just how much your old life has remained still and unwavering. It's a collision of two universes that are millions of light years away from one another. I've been there. After having my third son, Max, I went to see management 6 weeks after he was born. I was in town for checkups and their office was on the same road, so it made sense to pop in. Tom and Buddy were there too, so there was lots to juggle, but I thought I was just taking him in to meet everyone so they could coo over him and tell me how gorgeous he was. That's it. Don't get me wrong, that was how most of my time there was spent. But there were work things that needed to be discussed too. I'd been on maternity leave, but as I'd arranged, plans were still moving forward for future projects and I had to be across them. And so I listened, nodded and tried to engage my brain as I bounced a grumpy Max on my knee, while Tom walked an excited Buddy up and down the aisle of the office and tried to avoid a meltdown. Being with my children in a space that was usually reserved for important office meetings felt so alien. I couldn't focus, couldn't concentrate and therefore got drenched in mum sweat. It was dripping down my spine as my cheeks flushed. The familiar, dirty and hot feeling flooded through me, even though I'd managed to shower and made an effort that morning with my clothes and had actually washed my hair and added a touch of mascara to my lashes. Max needed feeding. I'm an old hat at that activity, but suddenly getting my boobs out in an office, in a workspace where everyone was getting on with their jobs, felt weird. It made me feel uneasy. The two worlds jarred against each other, and I felt really uncomfortable around that group of people I love dearly, who would have been mortified if they'd known how I was feeling. You see, it wasn't really them, it was the realisation that life was continuing, that at some point I need to return to work, and that the juggle of work and motherhood would continue, with one added member to factor into the equation. It was suddenly as though Max was being taken away, and that our time together was being robbed from me. My brain was screaming at me to get out while my body started to feel as though millions of ants were crawling under the skin, itching to escape. It was too much too soon. I left the office feeling crushed and dazed. I felt something other. That was a start of me finding myself in a dark place. I was overwhelmed by the demands of the two worlds, and it was only seeing the two of them together, side by side, that I truly understood how much of me they both required and how big the juggling act really was. I felt out of sorts, and I stewed on those feelings, wondering if I'd ever be comfortable in my old world again, or if the pressure was too much. A few weeks later, in Maternal Mental Health Week, I scrolled through my feed and saw post after post from women opening up about their own experiences of being on the wobble. I felt relieved. I felt empowered. I didn't feel quite so alone. And that made me weep as I sat and wrote my own post to add to the many. Sifting through my thoughts and getting them down onto the page was the kindest thing I could have done for myself in that moment. After weeks of saying I was fine, I was able to lift the veil and acknowledge the fuzz in my head. I've not been feeling myself the last couple of weeks, which is pretty tough to admit. I've tried to say it out loud a few times and then totally dismissed it and brushed it under the carpet. I have found myself saying, I'm not feeling myself, but it's fine, I'm fine. I'm fine, but sometimes I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. I don't want to get dressed. I don't want to see people. I don't want to do anything. I'm fine, but I've been crying for no real reason and occasionally I can't seem to stop. I'm not feeling myself right now, but I've just had a baby and my hormones are all over the shop playing havoc with my emotions. I'm not feeling myself right now, but I've just welcomed my third baby into the world and I'm so incredibly lucky. I'm not feeling myself right now, but people are asking things of me and I don't want to let them down. I want to deliver and be the productive, proactive and positive person I usually am. I'm not feeling myself right now, but thankfully I have a great bunch of people around me who are giving me lots of support and making sure I'm kinder to myself. We must be kinder to ourselves and we must talk. I wasn't going to add anything to the amazing conversations happening around mental health today, but seeing as they've all helped me, I thought adding to it might just help some others. Be kinder and talk. And that's my point. Days of awareness are so important because they mean someone like me might see honest, heartfelt posts and feel encouraged when it comes to their own situation. They might discover they're not alone in their feelings. They might decide to seek help. Did you know the leading cause of death in new mums is suicide? I know. It's a heartbreaking fact. It goes to show how important it is to talk freely without sugarcoating everything. How we shouldn't dismiss a mother's feelings as baby blues or be ashamed of the thoughts in our heads or think we need to appear we have everything under control when we don't. Babies and children are unpredictable, and that is fine. I've always said that honesty is the best thing you can give to a new mum, and now I believe that more than ever. Motherhood is hard. When you get back to your place of work and see people milling around desks, holding hot drinks, wondering what they're going to have for lunch at the pub, peeing in peace, wearing clothes that don't offer easy boob access, looking like they've not just put them on as an afterthought that morning, but actually taken time and pride over their appearance, doing things that aren't linked to projectile poos or tackling the ever-growing piles of washing, it's like an alien world. And that is okay. Life has changed. And it's okay to feel confuddled and conflicted as your priorities pivot on a new axis. It's okay to feel drawn towards your old life and feel conflicted by what you find. Sometimes it's okay not to be okay. Of course, there is a chance that beyond the moment on the train, you and your daughter had the most wonderful day, but it reminded me of the first collision of my worlds. So just in case that makes you head home with a depleted heart that feels crushed and lonely, I just wanted you to know it's fine to feel the way that you are. And I wanted to tell you that you're doing a wonderful job. You really are. Big love, G.